Hey, this is Ian Cleary from RazorSocial and welcome to our marketing channel where we discuss lots of tips and tactics for online marketing. So today we're going to talk about what you do with an old blog post. I don't know what that was for. When you have an old blog post on your site, what do you do with it? Maybe Google is sending traffic, maybe you're getting traffic from social media, but it's old and it's out of date. What's the point in having an out of date piece of content on your site? That's really bad. That could be the first piece of content your customer sees or potential customer. First thing they see is this old outdated piece of content and go, I'm out of here. Good luck, goodbye, farewell, goodbye. So that's it. See one bad piece of content and that's it. So what do you do on a serious note? What do you do with that old piece of content? Leave it there? Do nothing, nada, zilch, zero? Nope. Okay, I have 3 different tactics for you. Number 1 is republish it like as if it's a brand new piece of content. So you update the content and republish. Number 2, you redirect it to another blog post. Number 3, you delete it. And there's different advantages and disadvantages of each, but I want to step through each one and then I'm going to go whiz over onto the screen. I'm going to show you a couple of things. Is that okay? If that's okay, give me a thumbs up. I'm not here to see you've given a thumbs up, but you should give one anyway. Okay, so number 1, republish it as a new piece of content. So you have an old piece of content on your site that's a good piece of content, it just happens to be out of date. Well, why don't you just update that piece of content? Take that content and update it. That's all you have to do. So I'd go into the piece of content, I'm going to change the content, I'm going to change the publish date to now, I'm going to click on update, and the post will be published like it's a brand new piece of content. You get a new piece of content without a lot of effort, a lot of work. The audience gets a new piece of content because your older content could have been a year old, 2 year old, or whatever. Google now sees a new piece of content as well, which is great. So it's a win-win situation. But you don't always do that. Do a republish. So the second one is you delete a piece of content. So why would you delete a piece of content? Maybe it's like I had a blog post recently and it was about Blab. And Blab as a platform no longer exists. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to update the content and update a version of Blab that doesn't exist. So I'd either delete or redirect the content. And I'm going to explain the two of them at the same time. It's like yin and yang. I have to explain this at the same time. So what you do is, so I would look at that piece of content, Blab, and if nobody is linking to me from a different website, I'm going to delete that piece of content because I don't want to lose valuable links. Now, what happens if lots of external websites that are high authority are linking to that piece of content? Well, if I delete that piece of content, that's not good from a Google perspective. Google is not going to like me too much, and my ranking goes down just a little bit, depending on the amount of links I'm deleting. So, and the other problem is when I delete the content, it takes ages before it gets out of Google's index. So often you're sending people to an empty page. So I'll delete the content. If there's no valid or useful links to the piece of content, I may just delete it. If there is valid, useful links, I want to retain those links. So what I do is I set up a redirect. And the redirect is called a 301 redirect. 301. And what 301 means, it's a permanent redirect. So you're saying you want to redirect that piece of content to the new piece of content. Any links assigned to the existing piece of content automatically get passed on to the new piece of content. Got it? Okay. So it gets passed on to the new piece of content. Just so you know, a 302 redirect is a temporary redirect, which means don't pass any of them links on. You do not want to do that. You want a 301 redirect. Okay, so there you go, the options. Actually, there is a fourth option, and an old piece of content, what you could do is just update it and just, don't republish it or redirect or anything. So you could do that and just fix it. But if there's a substantial update, I generally republish the content because people forget about your content, especially a piece of content written a year old. Nobody's going to remember your content. Let's be honest. Nobody will remember it. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to show you a couple of things on the screen about republishing and analyzing a blog post to see what links are there. So let's hop over onto the screen. Okay, so we're here. Let me see if I go, say for example, here's a piece of content, the 5 best Twitter tools. I want to see, before I delete this content or redirect, I want to see, are there any links? Now, as it happened, this is an old piece of content that I republished. So I republished this piece of content before, this is like 2-year-old piece of content that I republished. So I'm going to go to Ahrefs. I'm going to paste the link in here. So this is a tool which shows you in terms of, is there any links to piece of content? So I'll put in a blog post and going to show me, are there any links to that piece of content? And it's a pretty good tool. So I'm going to do a return here, and it's doing a crawl, and you see, okay, so this tool, you can see here over the last 3 months, there was links. There's only a few links, then I got a big bump of links here. That's when I republished the content. So you can see republishing is smart. Get loads of new links. I have these links, and then I get loads more. If I look over to the right hand side, I see here I have 33 do follow links, 30 are .com links, 2 .net, and some .org. So let me see, if I open up the .com links, it'll show me the domain rank. So here's 43, not bad. Here's 40, here's 59, that's a good link coming back from somebody. 43. So there's lots of relevant links there. So what I'm showing you here is, because there's lots of relevant links, I do not want to delete this piece of content. So if this is a piece of content, I'll probably update it. Or if it's just a piece of content and it hasn't, it's not relevant anymore, I'm going to redirect it to a new piece of content, a 301 redirect. And generally in WordPress, you'll have a tool, there's a 301 redirect plugin that allows you to go redirect from A to B. Simple as that. If I looked at this and seen no links, or the links are real poor quality, I'm not going to bother, I was going to say leaving it there. I'll just delete it at that stage. Now, if you want to republish a piece of content, so I go back in here and I go back to my published list, and say for example, say this was an old piece of content. What I'll go through here is I'll update all the content, blah, 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 update. And this is what I did with this post. I put in a new image, new text, new tools, update it. I'll go back in here and I'll change the publish date, and I'll say schedule it for Thursday. So I'll say, for example, May, whatever date, and I'll click, that'll become a schedule button, and I'll schedule it. If you want, you can put in here and say, in the post, you can say, oh, this is an updated piece of content. But this post, it was like 2 years old. So, who's really gonna remember my piece of content I wrote 2 years ago? Nobody. So that gave you the options with your older piece of content. Don't just leave all that old content there. And even worse, what people are doing is resharing old content that's out of date. See, the alarm bells are going. Okay, so let's go through it again. 3 main things to do with the content. One is to redirect it. The second one is to republish it. The third one is delete it. And there's a sneaky small one there where you could just update it and not do anything else with it. But ideally you want to update it, republish it, get a whole new batch of shares out, get a whole new batch of links from people. And you can see from my piece of content, it had some links, republish, got a whole batch of new links, a whole batch of new shares, and that gives me a chance to push that post up in the ranking in search results. Okay, so I hope that was useful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to our channel. You'll see some buttons on this screen where you can subscribe to the channel, or subscribe to the newsletter, but please stay in touch. We like when people stay in touch. Goodbye. Sayonara, goodbye, arrivederci, au revoir, do widzenia. It's Bulgarian. Okay, good luck.